want to cap off this section on neuroresilience and how to anxiety-proof your nervous system by talking one more time about safety. I keep going over and over the same concept because it's such a vital piece to everything that happens within the freedom from anxiety model. As we've discussed before, once we're able to calm down our brain and our body, then we can apply certain behavioral strategies, both cognitive and behavioral strategies, which we'll be utilizing in the next section to actually be able to stick and to be effective in our life. Because if we don't have a nervous system that can tolerate these things, then all of our efforts are just going to be in vain. It's going to create more frustration, and then we're going to engage in more fear and anxiety, which is not what we want, obviously. So sometimes we do everything we can to try to maintain our nervous system. We are hacking our brain, our body. We're trying to utilize good breathing techniques. We're utilizing our chopping the anxiety, the freedom tools that we have, that all are excellent tools for our body. And we're doing everything that we can on a bodily level. And then that's still not working. We can't seem to find a place of safety. Well, there might be a couple thoughts here that I want to leave you with. One is, remember that everything we're doing here is not therapy. And so really, you might really need to find, in addition to the stuff we're doing here, you might want to also find a therapist that you can work with. And someone who understands anxiety, someone who understands panic, who understands fear, who has a good concept of neuroscience, and then be able to work with that person on an ongoing basis. Everything really boils down to relationship. In most of the outcome studies on what it makes for good therapy, for effective therapy, is that regardless of the tools or techniques or the model of therapy that you use, the one common denominator is relationship. And so you might need to establish a place of safety in relationship with a professional who can help you through that process. So if you're not already involved in that, I would encourage you to do so. Because what we're doing here is education. And even though I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, we're not doing therapy. So that would be one important way to establish safety if you can't seem to find safety. The other one is, if your environment in which you live in is chaotic, it's going to be very hard to feel safe. So I would look at how you might need to change your roommate situation, how you might need to develop a better system of peer support. If the people that you're hanging out with are very anxious people, very dramatic people who are engaged in a lot of histrionic kind of emotional stuff that makes you dysregulated, then you're going to want to find people who are regulated. Our brains tend to reduce down to the lowest common denominator in the room. So if it's not you and it's someone else that you're around, you're going to have a very dysregulated brain. So I want you to be able to feel safe by having an environment of support around you that can help you. In worst case scenarios, if you can't find the support you need through a good trusted friend, through a therapist, through peer support groups, and part of that would involve maybe group therapy or some type of educational groups that might be able to be a very positive, supportive environment, then you might have to look at something more drastic. That might involve a residential facility or some program that would be more inpatient versus outpatient. And there are a lot of programs like that around. You'd have to kind of look through your insurance, your ability to pay. You'd have to look on, do some research online, ask around, and then maybe even use the discussion forums here within the Freedom from Anxiety program to ask if people have heard of anything in certain areas, and we can use our combined effort and knowledge to help you find a place that is safe. Again, if you can't get the safety internally, externally, then all the behavioral strategies that we want to utilize to create that lasting, sustainable change are just not going to happen.